Yo, GMGM or GEGA, whatever. What's up?
Are we recording right now?
We're recording. We're recording, man.
No idea.
Yeah. What's up? I'm Jay Chains. This is Mike the
Mike,
Modern
the Modern
Canadian.
Canadian. And we're live on live with Trade Daddies. They recorded. But we're here live in Vegas, making real conversations.
Yeah.
As you can see, it is busy as hell, and it's a bear market. So you can see we definitely have adoption going on. Bitcoin is not, a thing coming up. It is now. Bitcoin is happening right now. Adoption is real. And as you can see around you, bear market doesn't matter. No vibes here. The price is a different story, but we can talk about that a little bit later.
You called it, man. I'm gonna tell you called it. The old crypto conference pump and then dump. We saw the price rise up. We got to 80K just like we were all hoping for and planning for. And then right before the conference, it dumped.
And you know what? I've noticed that trend every year. I've been paying attention to the Bitcoin conference that it goes up beforehand a little bit just to get the hype, and it just dumps down. But we've been talking about this for months, man. But we know that 3-day bear flag is still in play. 45K is still, still the target. We did not. I thought we were actually going to break 80K. And we didn't yet. So I don't know. We're at I think right now we're sitting about 75 something right now. So I think we're more likely to see 72 before 80K. What do you think?
I mean, I think at this point, going down, and look, it may be, maybe we don't go back up, because we were looking at that trend, right? And we did see that high, that push to 80, and I think on some exchanges it probably went over a little bit over 80,
probably,
right?
Yeah.
Maybe that was it, and now that was the rejection that we were kind of thinking that we were getting, and it's going to send us that next leg down. That I'm hopeful to get sub 50K. I mean, there's some people even calling for like in the 30s, which I'm a bull.
Yeah.
I am a Bitcoin bull. But if we could get Bitcoin in the 30s, give it to me.
Yeah.
Because we're just gonna go long.
Oh my
and long
God.
that thing to Valhalla, dude.
Absolutely. I think we did the math on the trade. If you catch it at what was that, like 45K up to like a new all-time high, like a $500 position, wasn't it like 50, like 30K or something like that?
Insane. It'll be insane numbers. But you gotta hold the whole time.
And that's another thing. Do you have the balls to hold it throughout the next bull cycle? Because we know traders, it's really hard to take profits.
It's hard to take profit. Well, also, but you got to think about if you catch it right, you're obviously going to be so far in the profit that you can withstand hanging in with the fees and stuff on the exchange. If you're on like a centralized exchange, I don't. Decentralized exchanges, what are the fees like? Do you have like the funding fees if you're in a trade?
Yeah, so there's a maker and taker fee. Like for example, on VDEX, there's maker and taker fees. As your volume goes up, you can get into different tiers. So if you're like a clownfish or a hammerhead shark, you get actually a cheaper reduction in fees. So it's actually more advantageous for you to trade, get more volume, and move your way up that leaderboard to unlock those. But the fees on VDEX are like peanuts compared to most exchanges. Like I use like other exchanges like Weeks where maker and taker fee can be like almost 1%, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be careful because if you're in a trade, you got to understand that math. Because if you don't understand that math and you think, hey, I'm in profit, you actually might not be, because by the time it's all said and done, you break even because those fees. So you got to understand your fee structure. You got to understand that if you're in a trade, I got to be up at least X% to be able to be in profits.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking, I know you said VDEX a few times. Speaking of, there it is.
That's it.
This show brought to you by, thanks VDEX, by the way. And man, you got these awesome Trade Daddies shirts.
Trade Daddies, I love it.
Got to represent them live. What do you think of overall? What do you think of the conference? I mean, the Venetian is a massive place. This room is a massive room that this conference is in. We were here last year. I feel like there was a lot more people last year,
Yeah.
but still, there's a good quality, good caliber of people that are here.
There's one thing I've noticed, like my biggest takeaway so far, definitely a lot less people. That's understandable. But again, bear market vibes, we have to understand that that's going to be the case. But what I have noticed is that talking with people and businesses, there's more adamant that people do want to work with you now versus in the bull market. Some people didn't even want to entertain, working with some KOLs, or I find I've been able to make more connections now
Yeah.
and deals to be able to work with businesses to help promote and work together and collaborate. So I feel like this is actually a better time to be collaborating for that growth for the next bull run.
Oh man, and look, and conference season is just kind of getting started, right? Like this is the Bitcoin conference in basically next week is consensus
Yep,
down in Miami, and then in a few weeks, obviously it's in July. We've got the Futurists out
yep,
in
down in
Toronto,
Toronto.
but like that is one of the like what you mentioned there. I think it's really important to notice that like when you come to the conferences in the bear market, the conversations are better. You know, it's like I was saying, it's a different caliber of people. It's the people who want to be here. It's the people who want to be building.
Yeah.
It's you're gonna have this access that you might not normally have if it were a bull market where you're gonna see 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people at the conference.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is where you build. You build your portfolio in the bear markets. This is where you dollar cost average. A lot of the hype is gone, so you can just focus on. There's a lot less noise in the market, so you just focus on what you got to do. This is where you start to compound wealth. Is start getting in now, whether it's educating yourself and getting more skills to be able to make more money in the future, which is or learning how to trade, getting that basis now, whether it's dollar cost averaging, educating yourself, or whatever you're going to do. And then now, by the time you get to next bull run, you know what you're doing, you're educated, and you're ready to rock and roll, and you're ready to take those profits because that's how you compound the wealth. Is you take profits in the bull market and you reinvest it back in the bear markets. And I'm telling you, anybody can still be a millionaire, can create real wealth. Doesn't matter how much you make, you can still do it in Bitcoin, doing that every 4 years. It just again, it's not going to take 2 years to become a millionaire. It might take 10 or 12, but it's better than 30 years working a job that you don't like for 30 years.
That's true. You think the 4-year cycle is still intact?
So far, I have to say yes. It has yet to has yet it has yet to show us otherwise.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin, the first cycle is very, very well intact. We've shown that 3-day bear flag. We had a bear flag previous to this before, and it broke down to 59K. And then now we've kind of consolidated up, and it's doing the exact same thing. And the seasonality too, right? Like the end of 2025, Q4 was the top of the bull market. Now the question is, do we make a cycle bottom Q4 this year in October or September, October, November, around there? Do we make a bottom now? That's the question that we're gonna have to ask ourselves.
Have you heard about what Ben Cowan had said about the Bitcoin bottom? Like sometime between, I think it was sometime between June and December, most likely going to happen. I think it was like October to November, August to.
Yeah, I can very much agree with that. August, I've noticed August is usually a pretty good month for Bitcoin historically. Doesn't mean it's going to be the same case this time around, but I would say more Q4 just because like everybody's like people are selling and getting ready for like taking their profits or whatever for the year. Um, I still think we're gonna have like it's gonna take time. It might actually be sell in May, walk away. We might actually have
I have,
that
I have,
may break to the downside.
I, you're good. I have actually been feeling more and more like the sell in May and walk away is an appropriate thing again this year, but it doesn't make sense because everything is down so much. Like all of your alts, all the alts are down 80%.
Yeah.
So like, what are you selling to walk away from? Like you should have already sold, but I
Short
think
in May and walk away.
to preserve some capital at least. But then again, if the switch gets flipped and things go nuclear in a positive direction just because everybody decided to take their profits or to sell, and crypto, like it's always Bitcoin wants to do the exact opposite of whatever, but the group thinks it's like maybe that goes away.
I still think like yes, Bitcoin does that in the short term, but overall, like the grand scheme of things, I still think we're in a macro downtrend. I don't think it's going to get better. Crypto has never really done well during the post like the midterm years. Has never done well in midterm years.
Yeah.
And you're kind of seeing with all the volatility going around the world, I don't think it's going to get better yet, right? I still think it's going to get a lot tougher. We do have midterms this year. Does Trump hold, all the power still? And you're going to have a little bit more bureaucracy where now you got to deal with the other side kind of stopping things that you want to get done. I know in Canada it's very similar to that, where we had a minority government for the liberals, but now some people have crossed the alley, and now they're on the liberal side. So now they're getting a majority government. So it's going to be really hard to make things work in the way that we want to.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how we'll have to go. I think it's like November for the midterm elections, right?
Something like that, I believe. Yeah.
So that'll be the big thing to
The
see.
economy is going to have. I mean, everything's going to have to be in a, if the for at least in the United States, for the Republicans to remain in control, like everything is going to have to like change. Like the economy is going to
Yeah.
have to be pumping. Stock market's going to have to be ripping. Crypto's going to have to be ripping. It could be. It could all time out very well.
I think when it comes to this, I can make it a case that the Fourier cycle could be broken, just based on how we think the like adoption, the laws, and the clarity bill, the genius bill, like all the institutions are getting in now. I can make a case that like we probably have more adoption and demand for Bitcoin than we ever have in the past. So I can agree that if we're gonna have a break of the Fourier cycle, it could be now. And then we're talking about stablecoin issuance and all that. Like that's a tsunami of money
Yeah.
coming into the crypto space through stablecoins, and businesses are getting involved and educating themselves and figuring out how to operate in this crypto ecosystem. Once they get it, the next step is advertising to their clients. We've talked about this on Spaces many times, where it's like they have to advertise it to their clients and tell them how to go. They're gonna have to tell them, advertise this. So you're gonna see it on commercials. Again, you're gonna see, I don't know if you'll see celebrities come back, and maybe they don't do that again. But you're gonna see them advertise. I'm seeing it actually a lot now in like ads online. I'm getting Kraken ads all the time on TV. Netflix, I'm getting ads on Netflix for crypto stuff. Maybe it's just because I'm in crypto.
It's
They know
part of
my
the
IP
search.
average. But like I still think you're gonna start to see crypto be the norm of finance now.
Yeah.
I think we're really gonna start to see that. It's gonna be on TV. It's gonna be on everything.
Do you think once that happens, like, do you think that that will disrupt the 4-year cycle? And then what about the decoupling, Bitcoin decoupling from the rest of like crypto? And I feel like to me, like the decoupling has to that has to be happening like a lot sooner than potentially some other things, right? The thank you. With so the decoupling of Bitcoin and the rest of the market before we see the 4-year cycle change, I feel like is important. And when I say that, it's like if you think about tokenization and RWAs, and you think about the trillions of dollars that are going to go into that ecosystem over the next couple of years, like there's no time for a bear market there. There's just really no time for a bear market.
Or a muted one. Like
True.
maybe we have the soft landing in crypto. And that's where I'm thinking like maybe that 59K was the bottom, right? Maybe we make another bottom, but we just revisit 59K.
Yeah.
A double bottom, bearish, bullish divergence could happen. So that's kind of where my mind is going. Like if we're gonna make the case that the 4-year cycle is broken and things are gonna start to change, which I totally agree with, I could say that we do make another bottom this year, but it's just that 59K or around the high 50s could be the bottom. Maybe we just revisit it, touch it again, or close to it, maybe 60K, a little higher than 60K, and maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the bottom, which is going to be really interesting because less volatility in Bitcoin. Now, where's the top? A lot higher, in my opinion.
So there's a lot of people that have called for, the $1 million coin, or who was it recently? I forget who it was. was it Sailor? Did Sailor call for a $21 million? And I'm sure 21 million is
He did.
$21 million for each Bitcoin is crazy to think.
Not impossible. Again, I think it is inevitable that prices do get to that point, but the time frame is a different story. And what is 21 million worth? Because maybe we go through hyperinflation, fiat dies, and 21 million is nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you got to think like strategy by the end of 2026, their goal is to have 1 million Bitcoin. And he's got 46 billion, probably less than that because he just spent 2.6 billion dollars. So like 40 some billion dollars allocated to buying more Bitcoin. They have more Bitcoin than BlackRock does, right?
They do, and they're like they're nipping at the heels of Coinbase. Coinbase, I believe, I saw a graphic where I think Coinbase has like 937 million Bitcoin, and Strategy has like 819,000 Bitcoin. So they're almost at Coinbase level, and Coinbase has been doing this a hell of a lot longer than Strategy.
So I think like, the whole idea of the price shock, the supply shock and the price shock, for us to get to those, high $1 million things, it's like, okay, so now you've got Strategy and they've got their million coins, and BlackRock is going to keep adding. And so then they've got their million. That becomes the race. I had thought this was going to be through nation states in the beginning, but it's starting through institutions, right? Like private corporations are the ones kicking this off. So now, like, to get into this equation, you're going to have a million coins.
You know what's going to happen? This is where when it comes to nation states, I think you're going to start to see. I don't know the time frame. Don't quote me on the time frame, but as fiat currencies go through hyperinflation and they start to fail more and more, you're going to see nation states printing money to be able to buy Bitcoin to save themselves, or just like accelerate. They know that their fiat is going to die. Screw it. We're going down with it. We're just getting Bitcoin.
Just print it.
And like, I don't know who was it. I can't remember who said it, but they said the first nation state to print money to buy Bitcoin is the winner, because they're going to be so much better. Look at El Salvador, what they've done in such a short amount of time with Bitcoin, and how they've really lifted that country up. Like, I've always seen more crypto adoption in countries with bad governments and bad currency, right? And it makes sense because you naturally look for a lifeboat. You naturally look for an exit, or if you live somewhere with less freedom of speech, you look for somewhere with more privacy, or when you have more government control. So that's just the nature of things. In North America, we're still spoiled. We have good currencies. They don't need it as much because we can still go and buy, groceries. And yes, inflation goes up, but not like, it's not like I can go buy some bread today and then tomorrow it's up like 50%.
Right.
Right. So we still have some sort of stability, but it's only a matter of time. All fiat currencies have all collapsed over history. And, the American currency, the American dollar has been around for 100 and something years. I think.
As the reserve currency?
Yeah. I think 150 years is usually like the cutoff or whatever.
No, so even smaller than that. It's like 92 years is like the average, and like we're like at 140 or something like that. So like we're well past our shelf life of what a traditional currency should be for a reserve currency in the world. So
literally mathematically impossible to pay off the deficit at this point, because it grows so fast that it's impossible to make that kind of revenue to be able to pay it off. So this is why I wonder, like, do you just say fuck YOLO? Like, I'm just gonna print Bitcoin.
Like, yeah, we're toast anyway. Just make Bitcoin out of it.
And like, that's the mentality I think you're gonna start to see in different countries, especially because when you think about it, we're moving into this world where now we don't have global trade the way we used to. We don't trust people as much anymore. So this is why you're seeing like the Strait of Hormuz using Bitcoin or Chinese yuan to have ships pass by, because I don't trust you, you don't trust me, but we don't have to trust anybody because we're using Bitcoin as settlement. I don't need to trust you. It takes the trust factor out of the equation, but at least we know that we're going to be able to get our goods, and we don't, because I don't know if Iran's going to play ball with the U.S. or whoever, right? So this is where I think the biggest advertisement for crypto is the unfortunately the discourse in the world and kind of the chaos.
Do you think there was like some crazy stats where like the country of Iran was making it was like thousands of Bitcoin a day on all like the ship stuff, because it was like was it like 1 Bitcoin for every barrel of oil you had or something like that? So it was like they were making like $2 million. It wasn't a million. It wasn't 1 Bitcoin per thing, but it's like
no, it was what was it? It was
like
just
$2 million per boat, right?
Yeah, it was like $10 or $1. I think there's like 2 million barrels on the ship, so I think it was like $1 a barrel or something like that.
Something like that.
But it was like, but again, like that's huge income. How many ships? We've seen the graphic. How many ships are just sitting there, waiting, and like, but that what that does? That fundamentally reprices oil because now oil has to be at a higher price as a bottom.
Just
Because
yeah, as a
everybody's paying $2 million just to get a ship through. So oil will always have a higher low, in my opinion, now because of that repricing.
and that'll be a permanent thing then.
Well, and until this Strait of Hormuz stuff, if that's permanent, where it's a toll system now, then yeah, which kind of opens up the new idea. So in Canada, we have what's called the Northern Shipping Route, which is actually 2,000 kilometers less, and it saves like $1 million in fuel costs for shipping.
Oh wow.
But the problem is it's still frozen. So the only way to get through there is to have an icebreaker, break the ice, and you follow behind it. But with global warming, in the next 10, 20 years, that might all melt. And that opens up a whole new shipping lane. This is why the US bought Alaska, because you have to use that north end from Alaska up. And that's why they got Venezuela and now potentially Cuba. They have secured shipping from the entire side of the hemisphere with between Canada and the US.
Oh wow.
So that's where we're kind of working. It's like one side of the world versus and the other side of the world. And like people, whether you like or hate Trump, the chess game that he's playing with shipping routes and understanding the future of where this world is going is next level. And like
Yeah.
Canada and the US play a huge part of the new shipping routes that will evolve in the next 50 years.
Dude, that's wild to think. Like that's crazy to think. Like, you're seeing what potentially could be like the commerce of the world.
You
the
watch
trade
like those I don't know if you've ever seen like some post-apocalyptic videos, like the world came to an end and like you don't have like North America, South America, and all these different countries. You just have like one side of the world versus the other side of the world, right?
Yeah.
It's like it was the whole idea of like America versus Russia, like, and it's two sides of the world. And I almost kind of feel like it is that way. We're kind of shoring up and doing trade with our side of the hemisphere, and then like unfortunately Europe's kind of caught in the middle. It's like we're trying to like we need Russian oil, but we don't want to deal with Russia because Russia, Ukraine. But like they're kind of unfortunately stuck in the middle, and like they don't want to like do trade because they're stopping themselves in the foot with the whole green initiative, right? So unfortunately, like they're having a rough time, and Canada's like, hey, we got all the natural resources, but we're not gonna sell it to anybody. We're not gonna dig. We don't need.
Do you guys have a lot of oil?
Canada is one of the most rich countries in the world for natural resources, and we produce these natural resources. We're probably the greenest way to produce these natural resources. The problem is we don't even utilize all that. We have some of the fourth biggest oil reserves in the world,
Well, but you don't use it.
but we don't even have a refinery. So we have to sell our oil to the US at a massive discount to refine it, and then we buy the finished product back, right? So but again, and that's not a problem, but we should have pipelines
Yeah.
to do that and just trade, North America, unfortunately, we have a government where it's this idea, I don't like Trump, so it's like, elbows up. That was the whole narrative in Canada. We don't like Trump. Again, you don't have to like the guy, but we understand that when we work together, this continent
Yeah.
is so much more powerful together, united, than it is apart.
That's facts, man. It's facts, but the world just doesn't see it right now.
No, it doesn't. But that's politics, and that's why we're in crypto. Because like I don't believe there's ever a good politician. Like someone always told me, it's like don't bank on a politician. They're always gonna break your heart, right?
Yeah.
And it's so true. Like you might like this politician, but in the ground, you're only really choosing between the best of both evils. Like crypto allows you to opt out of that system and move and be. It gives you freedom to be anywhere. That's why I love Bitcoin, because, for example, like I want to move to Portugal, right? My parents are from Portugal. I want to move, and like there's better crypto taxes there. Being in crypto, being in Bitcoin, I can go ahead and move to crypto. I can put all my assets into Bitcoin, move to the country, just have seed phrase in my head,
Yep.
and use that money there to be able to sell into euros and start my life there. That's something that never existed. Imagine the logistics of having to move stuff like 20 years ago to a different country.
No,
So
it's,
much
it's
harder.
crazy to think. Like now, it's like, yeah, as long as you got this thing right here,
That's
you
it.
could be anywhere. You could be anywhere.
And that's where we're speaking about tokenizing the world. Like you're not going to need anything to do with paper. Your driver's license, like your insurance card, your passport, everything is going to be tokenized, which is way more secure.
Yeah.
I mean, how much identity theft is out in the world? God, I've had my credit card hacked every time I traveled, like when I went to NFT NYC, my credit card got hacked when I got back. Right, so I stopped using Google Pay. But like it's one of those things where like, especially with AI,
Yeah.
you're starting to see the adoption of crypto and AI because you need that security layer now. Because now, like if I can employ 1,000 AI agents to go say, hey, you know what, I want to hack this thing. Let's get 1,000 AI agents and just try to crack it. Right? It's gonna be a lot harder to crack blockchain technology than it is normal two-factor authentication.
Do you think AI has kind of been like it's really hurt crypto in some way, right? Like it's done some damage uh to the industry, but do you think you think like the quantum stuff is going to be a big factor for real?
You know what? I'll be honest. In my honest opinion, I think this whole quantum argument is really the last attack vector that normies have against Bitcoin. Because you got to imagine, like, how do you produce new Bitcoin? By mining. Miners are essentially computers. If quantum becomes more readily available, the miners will have quantum chips in them too.
Okay.
So it's almost like in security, it's just you're not going to get a huge leg up. It's going to be fighting the same battle. And I think the miners will also have that. But then we're already preparing for that. You're starting to see other wallets come around that are protecting against quantum. They're already quantum proof. We have a lot of time. And to be honest, this is the best thing about Bitcoin. Bitcoin gets the incentive models perfect.
Yeah.
If you're going to spend all this energy to be able to hack and screw around with Bitcoin, it's a huge energy expense. You have to control 51% of the network. That's a lot of computing power you need. You're actually going to make more money using that energy and that compute power to just mine it yourself. All right, guys, that is it for us at Trade Daddies live at Bitcoin conference. We know we have adoption. It's growing. So make sure you guys tune in next Wednesday, 9 p.m. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Smash that like button on the way out of here.
All right.
See you when we're back in the studio.
See you later, guys.